Hi, Augustine. How are you doing?
Jose, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great.
I know you are a father, and a father of how many children?
I have two children. One is actually an adult, final year in the university.
Oh, wow.
And then I have the second one, barely 1.5 years,
Oh,
almost
wow.
1.5 years. Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
a big gap
Very,
between the
very,
two.
very big.
So
Very
I'm
big.
just imagining how you would have to have done the shift from
Mhm.
having an adult to an infant and be able to make time for both of them, especially with the kind of work that we do.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. I mean, with my first daughter, my first child, who's a girl, I was working somewhere else before I came to UNICEF. And I remember I intentionally looked for a school not too far away from where my office was.
Okay.
So I actually bring her to school, and when I close, I go and then pick her and take her back home. And I remember there were some times which were really, really hard. It's time to pick your kid, and they have scheduled meetings which you cannot miss. And these meetings could go on and on and on, even after working hours. And then you have a kid waiting for you.
Yeah.
So it was there were periods of that sort.
Yeah.
And there were also times you were traveling. So if you are traveling, you have to make arrangements for somebody to pick and drop them off. And it was,
I can totally relate to that. My children are still in the infancy age, from 3 years to 8 years.
Right.
So they still need all the support that they need. And I have to pick them up from school.
Right, every day?
Every day I have to pick them up from school.
Okay.
I have to drop them and I have to pick them. So I can really relate to, you want to go and pick your child and there's an urgent thing that you have to attend to, either an email that needs your urgent response or something you just have to finish before. But of course, your child can also stay in the school for a long time. So that balance is always an issue for me. And sometimes, you go to pick the children, they are annoyed, you have to try pacify them. Sometimes they look exhausted as well. So the mental, load of having to decide between your work and your children, especially the school pickup, it's not an easy thing.
So, how far are your children from your workplace?
So my children are close to my home.
Okay.
But far away from my workplace.
Right.
Yeah, because at some point there was somebody at home who could send them and bring them, right? And we feel that it's better for them to be closer to home than to the workplace.
Right.
From my home to the office is really very far, and there's so much traffic.
Right.
So I'm also imagining carrying them in the morning to school through this traffic. That's going to be a lot, and then back and forth. But if they are closer to home, there will be less travel time for them. That means I have to be able to still make sure that I pick them up on time. It's always a challenge.
Yeah. I think I appreciate very much this idea of picking children very early and dropping them off at school before going to work.
Yeah.
So what happens is that if your office is very far away from your home, as is the case for most of us, you have to pick the child up, wake the child up and get the child up very early.
Yeah.
Very early.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get home, because the house is far, there's traffic, you get home late.
Yeah.
So it's always very difficult for the children.
It is.
You pick them up, they are sleeping. When you are going home, they are sleeping.
Yeah.
And then getting them, giving them enough time to do their homework was always a challenge.
Yeah. So I think that leads me to support.
Right.
We need support because we can't say because of our children we will not work. We have to care for them holistically, and that includes taking care of their needs. And we can only do that when we work.
Do you have good family support for the children?
So because I work outside where my main family is, not really, I would say. I have help once in a while that come in, but I do not have family help that is really just constantly present at home. I had that, well, when I was in Tamale, but since moving to Accra, I do not have that. And that's one thing that I really advocate for, because if parents, whether father or mother, has to work, and then there should be somebody else in the family who could support. So if you have somebody, maybe a grandparent that is around, an auntie that you trust, that's very helpful. The last time I was discussing with a friend, and I said, I think we need to go back to that, way of life, that community way of life, where a child was raised by a whole community. I was raised by a community where neighbors could look after me when my parents were not around. I could eat from there, I could stay there for a while. But it seems to be going out of, the system, and we hardly even know our neighbors well to trust our children with them. So you have neighbors around who could look after your children, but we don't really have that kind of relationship where we can trust them with our children. I think despite all the struggles that we go through, we still have to find a way to spend some meaningful time with our children. What do you think are some of the things that we can do to still be able to, spend valuable time with our children?
Anyway, it's actually very difficult, especially with the Accra situation, the traffic and the time you have to get up.
Yeah.
So for my infant, every morning before I come to work, even if it's for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, I spend time because he wakes up very, very early. So even before I come to work, I spend a little bit of time, partake in the feeding, playing around, or cleaning up, changing nappies, something. There's always something, and then you carry the infant around and all of that. So sometimes it makes me late. But then that's one. So every morning I do that, because by the time I get back, he's asleep. Then during the weekends, you have church, but during weekends too, and that's the best time to spend with him. Then of course during holidays, the older one, I appreciated the time we spent even in traffic. Because we could engage in all the conversations throughout the period. So even while we're in traffic, we are still together. So I don't know how you do it.
I think I really like that, especially with the traffic one. So we also have this thing that we do in the car. When I'm dropping them up, there are things that we catch on when I go to pick them. So once I pick them up, I start asking about how was your day, what happened, and all of that. So they fill me in before we even get home. And as a champion of responsive caregiving, for me, I don't think you really have to, it doesn't have to be such, 3 hours, 4 hours, and spend the whole day with them. The small time that I get with them, I try to make sure that it's valuable for the both of us, right? So whatever their needs are, you just make sure that you pay attention, listen, and then respond as they want. So as I cook, they are in the kitchen.
I see.
If you really have to wait to get set time aside, a big time aside, you are never going to get that. So I try as much as possible, the little time that I spend with them, once we get home, during cooking, and even bathing, during bathing, you ask about school again, they tell you about stories, what happened and all of that. And before bedtime, then we get time together, maybe 10 to 20 minutes, then we are able to catch up and see the things that we needed to have said to each other. So I think the most important thing is, if it is even 10 minutes a day, just make it consistent and make sure that we are present fully. And what I also try so much to do is put away my phone, because, and as an adult, I tell them to put away their tablets. So I have to put away my phone as well. Once I want to spend that time with them and I have my phone, I'll be distracted. And I know I was not with them the whole time. So the small time that I get, I want it to be meaningful. And so I make sure I'm not distracted myself. You put your phone away and then you can have that chit chat with them. So just try to make the time I have with them consistent, and the quality of it, pay attention and be fully present. That's what I try to do. Otherwise, I would even miss out a lot, not just them, because it's supposed to be it benefits the both of us, not just the child, but you, the caregiver, also need that bonding with them. Yeah.
I just have one thing I want to find out from you. Very busy parents who do not sit at home, who are not. How do you manage the risk of child exploitation? Because one, you might engage, let's say, people who you pay who don't know much, or even relatives.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that the children are safe if they are alone with these people? They are not exploited. I mean, it's always at the back of my mind. How do you do that?
It is, and I do worry and think about it a lot. Recently, my 8-year-old watched a cartoon movie in school. Then he came home and said, "Mama, I've changed my mind. I don't want us to get help again." And I asked why. He said they watched a cartoon movie and the maid poisoned everybody in their family. So it's really something that we all worry about. But we don't even have to go to the stage of the maid. Recently, I've categorized drivers as part of people who can't, molest a child. There's always that child that the driver pick up first, and there's that child that the driver drops off late. Is there anything in place to ensure that this child that is always left alone with the driver is safe? So for me, I think that everybody has to be involved beyond even the parents, because even at school, the child can be abused, right? But the first thing as a parent you can do is to be very open with your children in such a way that they can always talk to you about anything. Once your children see you as their friend, if there's anything that happens that is even out of the ordinary, even if it's the normal, they will tell you. And once you consistently ask to know about their daily lives, they are going to share. And you might pick up if something is odd, if something odd happened. So once they can share anything with you, I think that's the first step. And then as early as possible, we have to start teaching them about these things. What are the, which type of touch is inappropriate, what sort of ways that people could say to you that is not right. And this time it's not just about girls, it's about both boys and girls. So we have to do for both sex so that they understand once somebody says this or start to do it is not right, we report to the person. And we have to involve the school as well. I talk to my children's school usually when you go for open day, because we have to be able to trust the school and the teachers. Absolutely. Teachers as well. So I think we just have to be alert. The system, we can do something on our level. I'm not so sure about what the system can really do. But your immediate environment, your home, including the school that your children attend. But generally also, I think parents need to be supported from the system level. I think a lot of parents, not just within urban areas, but rural areas, need some support in terms of advocacy, how they should care for their children, and be responsive to their needs. Parenting is not just all about paying fees. Like you and I are talking now, we are talking beyond paying fees, but being intentionally present in the, in the life of the child. So I think we need to really keep talking and advocating for responsive caregiving so that everybody, whether you are in the urban sector, you are educated and all of that, gets to really understand the message. Then we can be better parents. So, Augustine, it was nice connecting with you. And I think when my children get to the teenage adulthood stage, I'll reach out for tips since you already have an adult already.
Absolutely. I think it was also nice talking to you. Thanks for the insights.
My pleasure.
So we will continue talking.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.